from prior experience. So perhaps you are a new site and you've never done this before, and you are going to look to Fairmont State or Fairmont to see what they did and replicate a change idea that they did prior, or from your own prior experience. Next, that you have an expectation that doing the change idea will lead to the driver. And for your working group, the driver is improving students' sense of belonging in STEM community and self-efficacy in their STEM abilities. Also, that it's at a scale that is appropriate for the time frame. So you've got planning for your summer research immersions, and you could do change ideas around that, but the actual event is 2 weeks long. So what can you actually accomplish, to implement a change, to study it, and act upon it? You have to consider that time frame. And then, as Jared also said, it doesn't have to be a brand new idea. It can be you're replicating something that someone else has done or that you did before, but maybe you're just tweaking it a little bit. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to now switch to a Google document. And, okay. So we're just going to do a brainstorming session, and I think it would be, since I'm not looking at the chat, I would prefer for you to unmute yourself, but you could also write something in the chat and Jared or someone can read it aloud. So what we're doing right now is we're going to look at those 4 components. So the first one is building community among STEM majors. So in the summer research immersions, what does that look like? What are the things that the program is doing to do that, to build community? So can I get some examples? What is it that you're doing?
Actually, during the waiting time when everyone was arriving on campus, I was kind of surprised that the students really got together immediately. I did not anticipate that. So it looked like them sitting around in a circle, just talking to each other, with the mentors were already very much in place.
Okay.
Last summer, a couple of the sites got together for a cookout.
Did you say
That was
cookout?
very fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. What are some other ideas?
They stayed in the same dormitory 24 hours a day, like outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
They did everything together. They ate lunch together. They ate supper together. Oh, and they cooked. This was a brilliant thing from Fairmont State. They actually cooked meals together. They cooked the meal, they ate it together, and they cleaned up. And we're going to implement that in other programs because it worked so well.
They also had game nights and did scavenger hunts.
Erica says in the chat that mentors led sessions that had deep question activities where it kind of pushed students outside of their comfort zone a little bit to share more.
That's a High Rocks, the mentor training from High Rocks really included that, how to get deep quick.
Mm-hmm.
So they play a game called Popcorn where you can write down a really true answer to something and then throw balls of paper at each other, and then you don't have to read your own. So that's a in ours, we had our students work with rising 9th graders, with young kids, to share their stories, and in developing that and doing that, I think they got pretty close.
These are great examples.
Used Slack also, so there was some kind of communication tool.
Okay.
And we had them interact with other undergraduates who were more advanced on campus. Like we have a big summer symposium. They were required to go to that and talk to a certain number of students. And
we have some,
go ahead.
Sorry, we have some students with us too that have been mentors in the past. Maybe you'd like to add to this list.
Yeah, I was about to say that on Marshall's campus last year, we had planned a community service project to do together. It got canceled due to a heat advisory, but we still did something with our dean of activities, and he put together something where we built our school mascot, like a Build-A-Bear of our school mascot. Together.
Awesome, that's great. So these are a bunch of different ideas. These could probably be grouped in a couple different categories. And then, different sites would probably pick different ones of these. So what are some change ideas, either a new idea, or if you're a new site, something you want to try implementing or tweaking one of these ideas? What would be a change idea around building community among students in STEM majors?
So this is Saida Jimenez. Hi. We're a new site at UC, and I'm following that advice that based on previous practice, we're adopting some of these things in our recreation time plans. But my question is, and possible change idea, these seem very structured activities, planned ahead. Has anybody considered recreation time that just involves the students finding what to do on their own? Without any pre-structuring?
That's one thing we did on Marshall's campus. Halfway through the immersion program, we kind of saw that the kids looked like they needed some free time, so we took some structured time and then turned it into just, you can hang out in the dorms, or you guys can play we can play some games down here, and I think it worked really well. So they took naps sometimes too.
Yeah, recreation time, take a nap together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great idea. Any other change ideas?
Yeah, in chat, Mike suggests possibly community service activities where multiple sites get together to work on a single project. And Erica has a question, which is, should a change idea be something that makes a change to an existing idea? And I guess the implication is, or could a change idea be its own new thing?
I would
So could an example here be that, I know we talked about a couple of sites got together to do something last year, which was a great idea and they loved it. This year, as a result of that, we are intending to get all students from all states together for one day. So it's kind of that same idea, but we're expanding upon that by getting all of them together.
Okay, just in the interest of time, we're going to move on. These are all fantastic ideas. Okay, build relationships with faculty. What are some examples of what that looks like in practice?
We did a Meet the Professors program, so we invited a professor from every discipline in our school, and they just came in and presented kind of freely. They either presented about themselves or their class or how to get prepared for college.
Okay.
The staff, the scientific staff, when I think of faculty, I guess that's what I'm thinking about, are the upper level mentors, are work with a small team of students over the whole course. So there are several.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Erica suggests in chat, or mentions in chat, a panel discussion with a panel of first-generation professionals on campus.
With first-generation professionals.
Yes, who work on the campus.
Right, so that it probably is the best place for that.
And Mike suggests in chat, our students worked with faculty in their area of interest to get to know them better.
By worked with, does that mean like the research project that they're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
In their area of interest.
Yeah, thank you.
Some social events with faculty is important too.
Okay.
Some of those recreational opportunities include the faculty.
All right. What are some change ideas, either new or building on some of these?
So I have one that kind of encompasses both this one, the last one, and maybe even actually the next one as well in terms of a change idea if it hasn't been implemented. Something that's really important in terms of the community aspect is the professional community as well. So has anyone considered or had their students do a presentation, like a professional presentation, that would both be building community, like if it was a team presentation of what they've done, that would be a way to build a professional relationship as well as engage in an authentic research experience.
So you mean like give the presentation to faculty or, other people?
Right. Maybe regarding their research findings or something, their experience, etc.
They did have to do that last year, Chris.
Okay.
We're planning doing something similar too.
Was it a team presentation or were they individual presentations?
I had them in pairs.
But not teams with faculty.
Right, the teams of students.
Teams of students. I don't think that I saw anywhere they did a team with the faculty member that they were with. They were presenting as students.
Right.
Okay, any other change ideas?
That's actually a change idea. If you've got a faculty person on the team helping to give the presentation.
We kind of did something different at Marshall. We had them present to their parents because some of the things the students said were the biggest barriers was communication to their parents about STEM degrees and their education. So we had them present at the end of the 2 weeks to their parents. And then, of course, like the research mentors were there and some faculty were there. But the parents, it seemed to be a good thing for them to kind of understand what their students, or what their kids did while there.
So do this have to be more formal presentations? Because we're thinking about having the students work with a small team and a faculty member on a specific area on the second week. And they're going to be sort of the experts on that. And then every so often, they're going to be sharing their expertise and their knowledge with the rest of the team. So they're going to be more informal presentations, but...
I think that's great because then you get a chance to see if it's working before the end of the 2 weeks is up, You can improve on it.
In the chat, there's a suggestion of faculty leading social events. So for example, a canoeing or rock climbing expedition, but faculty led rather than student led. And then there's also a suggestion of more informal lunches between students and faculty mentors.
We have a nature walk plan with the faculty led.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, engage in authentic research experiences. What does that look like in practice?
So at Marshall, what we did was that we had two research mentors in Dr. Norton's lab, and we were working on two separate projects. So we presented the projects to the students, and then they kind of picked which projects they would like to work on for the next 2 weeks. And then they worked on those projects, and then we had like weekly meetings with Dr. Norton, and that would kind of like be an informal presentation for them, for him to kind of see like how they're doing in the progress, and also to kind of help with actually kind of progressing in research as well.
Okay.
This is Margie. At WVU, we had an industry person come in and pose a problem the first day of the math part of our research team, whatever. We had some in chemistry and some in math, sorry.
Posed a problem for them to discuss or address?
To solve, yeah.
Oh, okay, in math, got it. Okay, I'm just gonna cut us off from there unless there's something in the chat. And what are some change ideas around engaging in authentic research experience?
We did not really learn that much about the students before the program began, and we're thinking we might do that to better match them with faculty. That's new to us. I don't think it's new to everyone.
Okay. Anything else?
We are changing, this is WU, we are changing our research experiences every year. Last year, they were focused on chemistry and math. This year, they're focused on biology and like a geography project. And our goal is that they're like, okay, I'm a biology student, so I'll do the biology project, and only biology majors can come to our site. We're like, no, any student can do this. It doesn't matter what your major is, as long as you're a STEM major, because what you learn is going to be beneficial for any major. So, and then in that way, more of our faculty know about first two, and it's not just the same faculty over and over. I think that was our main goal.
Mm-hmm.
I have a change idea, and that is to use metacognition or explicit explaining of the processes as you're going through them to cement these components of active, science research.
And you're saying integrated or multiple times, because we did it once, and that's probably not enough.
Yeah, when something's happening, say, that's an opportunity to bring up what's going on from a researcher's perspective.
Okay, cool. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to move to the last one. So the student mentors play a very important role. What does that look like? What are some of the practices?
So one of the things that we did was we did like presentations every so often throughout the immersion program, where we were talking about maybe like it was like a Q&A of like they could ask us questions about college, or we talked about safety in college, or expectations, stuff like that. We also did kind of have informal conversations, but we tried to also open the floor for some anonymous questions, like they were talking about the popcorn idea, so that students feel more comfortable with asking anything. And we did help them with like their schedules and stuff like that going into campus.
They were there 24 hours a day, which is not your normal job.
Okay, so they're eating with them, hanging out in the dorm.
They did a lot of advising.
Yes.
Like individual advising?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I'm also noticing in the chat the idea of mentor training ahead of time.
Yes.
I'm going to just put that. Well, you probably already do that. Is that? Okay, I'm going to put it down here. Mentor training. Okay. Any change ideas around the student mentor component, either in building their leadership or connecting them with with the students?
There's one big change idea. I think last year we had, for instance, we had two mentors. One was supposed to be a planning mentor, and they were involved early on and they planned the whole thing. And then the other student kind of came in afterwards, and that didn't work so well at WU. That's how it was set up. But this year, both of the mentors are supposed to be involved in the planning and then in the, I guess the whole process, so that everyone's involved from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
So from the chat, Samantha mentioned that last year there was a lot of surprise around the amount of interpersonal conflict that mentors had to help mediate. So a change idea extension could be, better preparing mentors to mediate or manage interpersonal conflict amongst the students.
Okay, so this is fantastic. We're going to come back to this in just a moment because, well, actually, before we leave here, so we're going to head into breakout groups fairly soon. But we have 4 groups, and we need to select 4 change ideas from these lists. So I just want people to nominate, and they don't have to be your favorite ones, but I don't know, just we need to pick 4. So I'm going to highlight 4 change ideas that you saw here that you want to nominate to be one of the breakout groups. So in the breakout groups, we're going to be doing a PDSA. So from this list, let's nominate 4 change ideas. So just say one that you want one of the breakout groups to focus on.
All right, and the top one, I nominate the community service involving multiple sites working on a single project.
Okay. 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 Another one.
Think in group 2, the present to your parents.
And this is under build relationships with faculty. So let's say parents and faculty.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I was only doing the first 4 words.
Group 2. Okay. 2 more. They can be in the same groups or they can be in the last 2. Somebody
Learning about the students ahead of time is
Okay.
definitely going to be a change for us.
Okay.
We're doing changes for everyone. Is that correct? Changes that would be true across the sites.
Are you asking what I'm asking for?
Yeah. So Mike said that that's going to be a change for them. I was just curious if we're trying to.
Is this just for practice, Debbie?
Yes, it's just for practice. So no, this does not mean that every site has to do this. This is just, we're just picking 4 today to practice the PDSA.
At the strong recommendation of my students, I will nominate Samantha's dealing with interpersonal conflict training.
I think that's a good one. And that would be new, right?
Thank you, Erica. I'm going to die on that cross if I have to.
Okay. All right. We are now, I'm just going to give you some instructions. Okay, so we are at the PDSA practice. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have 4 breakout sessions. Each group is going to focus on one of those 4 change ideas. And so I labeled them group 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this will become clear soon. You are going to conduct the plan phase of a PDSA cycle. And I just had a note here is there's several questions, but make sure to get to the data collection section. So here's something I need to do. This document that I'm in, I'm going to put this, actually, Erica, can you put it in the chat? Because you're in the document, aren't you? Are you in this document? Erica, I'm not hearing you.
That's because I didn't unmute because I was trying to copy and paste, but I did just put it in the chat. That is the link to the document Debbie's looking at.
All right, so everybody should click on that link if you're at a computer. Is there anyone who is call-in only? Okay, good. All right, so here's the document. So this is the brainstorm we just did. I'm scrolling down. Your instructions are follow that first part. So there's a template for each group. The instructions are exactly the same, but we're all going to be working in the same document. So here's I'm going to take group 1. So if I'm in your group, then we're going to do change idea for group 1. And then if I scroll down, I will get to group 2. That'll be Jared's group. So this is how you're going to do the work. And first of all, before we do the breakout sessions, what questions do you have? My instructions were very brief. But let me just say, you're going to follow these instructions. And, oh, good. Excellent. And someone from your group is going to be the scribe. And so they're going to write down your answers on this template. So any questions about what we are doing? All right. Thank you. Sounds like some really great discussions. So you've got some change ideas, some of which are new, some of which are tweaks of things that have been done in the past. Great discussion of some ideas on measures. I will say that, of course, you have to balance the, collecting data. For every change idea, for every component of the program, you can't survey the students to death. You can't be asking them all the time. So you'll be deciding, what are our most important questions? What are some quick, simple, like doing the poll everywhere, or Jared talked about exit tickets, or just, kind of more informal, qualitative. So, you have to put all that in balance. I wanted to just wrap up this portion by talking about what we've learned. And I put some things here that, was just summary, but I realize we're at time where we're supposed to shift. So I want to ask you all just reflections on this training on PDSA. What did you learn? Any ahas? Was there something that was hard?